Okay, now I can go live on YouTube. And then I could, let me see if Twitter catch that too. Yeah. Okay, we are live now on Twitter. And let me see if Twitch caught that too. Twitch. Oh man, going live is stressful today. I don't know. Let me see. Okay, we are live. Oh, we are live on Twitch. Did he catch the right thing? Okay, so we're live everywhere. Probably going to use my phone to just like get some comments.
Okay.
You're really blurred for me today, but I'm sure the network is good for everyone else. Like
Like my video.
yes, your video is blurred. Unlike the other time, it was really good. So I don't know why. I am going to check what's happening on YouTube. Welcome everyone if you're here. Well, I don't know if you're here, so probably speaking to the void. But regardless, welcome. I should announce that we are live now on YouTube too. I would do this, but I'll mute the mic. And okay, so Lenny says there might be a delay. Hey, is the delay gone? I'm asking Lenny if the delay is gone. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Let's. I'll just keep checking in to see if the delay go.
Okay. Yes.
Right. I can't hear you anymore. Just in case you're speaking.
Can you hear me now? Alright, speaking.
Okay. I think I can hear you now. And I'm going to mute this one. Okay. Okay, it's cool. Hey, we see Olabode in the chat. Hello, Olabode. How you doing? Are you here to get troubled again by me? My pleasure. You're welcome. Don't think I can hear you anymore, Toby. Let me see what's going on. Toby, I can't. Okay, Toby, you're muted. You're muted.
I was checking on YouTube to see my video and I saw that it was actually blurry. It was actually very clear on my end. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Do you want to join again? Maybe
Yeah,
that'll
let me
help.
try to join.
Yeah, join again. By the time you're coming in, let me go disturb Olabode. Yeah, there's always gonna be trouble, Olabode. Get used to it. Okay, Lenny said. So let's wait for Toby to join in. Today, I was the one that was a little bit late, so I was supposed to go have like breakfast. Okay, maybe let's call it brunch, right? I was supposed to. Oh, your camera is better now, Toby.
Okay.
Yeah, good. So I was supposed to go have like breakfast. I was like, so I started off the day working on SalesPay. So SalesPay is like this payment adapter for sales that I'm working on, where you could easily just pick any supported adapter, like for Lemon Squeezy, for Stripe when we get Stripe, and every other thing that make it easy. So I was working on it today, and I was looking at it. I just worry, I'll still be done. Let me just give me 5 more minutes. And by the time I looked at the time, it was 1:50. So I quickly had to go microwave my meal. And of course, I don't like having dirty dishes. I said, you know what? Let me just wash this. Of course, I still have time. And then I came up quite late. So that was what happened, guys. I am sorry. So what's up, Toby? We couldn't stream last week Sunday. That was
Yeah.
the bummer, but it was cool because life happens. But yeah. So what have you been up to?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so For me, it's mostly been a couple of things here and there. It's work. Wow, my internet speed is good. Sorry. I also, I also like I've been doing some things on the side for a conference that's upcoming with Santosh. So I'm working on the website there. And,
Okay.
yeah, school stuff. So that's been that's been mostly what I've been doing. The work, school stuff, and
Yeah, work school stuff. Okay. Your camera is sorry, not your camera, your mic should is a little bit low, so I don't know what you're gonna do about that.
I don't know
Yeah, are
what's
you
going on. This is so weird.
yeah, so today the streaming gods don't like you, Toby. Like seems you've not paid homage to them for a while, so they're not at peace with you.
What's going on?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, um so
Okay.
okay, yeah. Let's see how it goes. Let me ask the audience. Bode and so we have 4 people watching. So Bode and Lenny and whoever is here, can you hear Toby really well? Or it's just me? Let me know so that we know that it's coming across. But because the most important thing is that you all are hearing both of us audibly. So yeah.
Crazy thing is
So
actually my internet on fast.com and it's actually good. So I'm shocked
yeah.
as to why
So I
my
think so.
video is stuck.
At a point your mic is loud, at another point it's not. So I'm thinking it's are you using like a USB mic or are you using a mic from your laptop?
I'm actually using my headphones, but let me try switching to the other.
To be come on, it's gonna it's gonna mess up. And you're using Bluetooth, I know. So it's definitely going to be weird. If you want to do that, you probably
So
would do like what's it called? Like the way I'm doing this, I'm not using the microphone from the headset. I'm using this one, but I still have this plug because when it comes to streaming with Bluetooth and things, it just sort of mess up sometimes. So
so
yeah, I just okay. Let me see whether they're hearing you well. Toby, I get make they should make
how about
payments.
now?
To, yeah, it's better. And they were agreeing that your voice is quite low. So they say you should make payments that appease the gods of streaming. They don't like it. But I think it's cool. Sha. I
So
think it's better now. Yeah, let's just see how it goes. But I really need your mic
but
to
my
be really what?
but my
Just
video isn't clear yet still.
yeah, your video is not clear yet.
So one
So
more let me just try to rejoin one more time.
yes. All right, now let's do that. So okay. Okay. I think we will tell the voice is muffled. Yes. Yes, but the voice is muffled. I'll tell him to join the computer's mic. Might be better. So but you were asking about the sales. So the sales pay, that's what I call it, right? Sales pay. I think the GitHub is live. Um so the theory now is that because sales we have database adapters already, right? Where you could just plug in different databases and it just works. I want to replicate the same thing for payments, right? So I call it sales pay. And for every payment provider, we're going to provide an official first party adapter. I'm working first with the one from Lemon Squeezy. Wait, let me see if Toby's trying to join. Okay. So the audience says you probably should use the mic on your laptop, right?
Okay, that's what I'm doing now.
Okay, it's good. So now I get it. You're using mine from a laptop is great, but of course they're going to be static, but that's fine. Next time I would introduce you to crisp.ai. That's what I'm using. That's why you don't hear any background noise. And if I
Okay.
switch, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not switching. But I think it's good now. Everybody can hear you, I guess. So I was just talking about sales pay because Toby asked, I'm sorry, not Toby, but they asked Salescast HQ sales pay. I want to give him the link to the Discord. Okay, so let me send it. So where's the things? This is the thing. So that's it. Olabode. So like so just a quick rundown for where I started from. So in sales we have database adapters. In fact, I released sales stash, which we're going to talk about today, which it also mirror the database adapter that we have in sales, but for caching backends like Redis, then maybe Memcache in the future. So I want to do the same thing for payments, right? So going to support Lemon Squeezy, Stripe, Paystack, and anything else really, right? So The whole idea is that if you run npm I sales pay, right, for example, then you install the payment provider like at sales pay slash lemon squeezy, for example. Then you just put the setup. So the setup will take the adapter name, which should be like the path to find the adapter, then the API key and every other configurations that your adapter requires, right? Or your payment provider requires. Then we just pass that in. So the goal is to give you a unique API like sales.pay.checkout, for example. Then you will see, then you pass in like a variant ID or a product ID. It will just create a payment. I could even show this. So this is code live from Hackfish. Uh, Let me show you what I mean. Is it custom? Okay. Let me change to dark mode for those people that gets blind, like on, on light mode. Um, the people, oh my eyes, you're killing me, eyes. I'm like, dude, relax. Yeah, so this is the API I want to work with. I don't know if you all could see this now, right? So this doesn't work now because I'm working on the implementation. I like to start as giving out APIs to developers first, starting from what they will see. Then I work my way back into the implementation. So once you set up sales page, so for example, we have like a pay. So the pay.js config will take in a provider's object, which you can specify the default. So the default will be the one that will be used by default if you don't specify a provider at runtime. So here it's going to take the adapter. So this one is definitely going to be, because now I opt into using like a GitHub organizations, like to make it official. So whenever you see at SalesPay, you know that okay, this is an official adapter. You could trust it, right? So you know where to look for. Then you pass in the store, the API key, redirect your sign-in secrets. Okay. Then when you are calling this in your action, for example, so if we wanted to like pass in the provider at runtime, so maybe you have more provider, you could do something like I don't know, Stripe. Maybe you have like a Stripe provider. You could do something like this if it's not your default, right? So this is the API we're going to work with. So this is how you. So what this would do, this checkout method will return a checkout URL, which will. So this is sales, of course. So I could easily say that the success should be a response type of redirect. So when I return the response of this call, which is going to be a string or a checkout URL, it's just going to navigate to Lemon Squeezy, or if it's Stripe you're using, the same thing will happen. Then so I'm passing the variant ID. So the variant ID is like in Hackfish, you could subscribe yearly or monthly. So the variant ID is for either the yearly or the monthly one for anyone you choose, right? Whether it's Hackfish Creator or Hackfish Professional. Then the custom is like these are custom data that are not specific to Lemon Squeezy, but what I want to pass to, so that when they send me a webhook, I could detect that okay, this is the user that subscribed. I could now update their subscription ID in my own database. Yeah, this is the API I'm working with, and this is how it should work with Hackfish and SalesPay and whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Actually, it does make sense. Curious
Oh,
though, like you said, yeah, the okay, I see. Okay, now
mm-hmm.
the webhook can be returned by any like payment provider, and you would recognize that because you've configured an adapter.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you configure an adapter just now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So the thing is, the webhook is mostly you will have to be involved with the webhook. So because how a webhook works is that you give your payment provider that this URL. So let's call mine slash webhook, then some random string so that no one can actually detect it, right? So they themselves will make a post request to that endpoint that you give them. And now you
Okay.
can now check for like, okay, this is a success webhook, then and they send it with data now, so I can now use those data to like do any business logic that I want to do, like okay, this user is subscribed now, so let them access
Okay.
and send more invoices, those kind of thing. Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah,
That
exactly.
makes
So
sense.
but
That makes sense.
yeah, but like, but what Syspo is doing is that since you have a unified API, you could swap to a different provider at runtime or at any time really. So we'll just give you a unique API, like a unified one, sales page or checkout, sales page or like maybe get subscribers and all those kind of stuff. It's just cool. So I'm still working on a lot of the architecture because of course you know that, right? For every um request you make, you would need to send an API key, right? But you note we are not sending an API key here.
Yes.
So we need to be able to, like,
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
load
Yeah.
your app, those API keys are given to the sales pay for Lemon Squeezy adapter so that you don't have to always send an API key. I'm almost there with how I want it to look, but not there yet. So I'm still tweaking around. I'm still playing. Um, so if I show you
Yeah.
what I'm playing with, I could
Okay.
look at sales pay. So like this is like a mono repo going on because we want all the repos to be here. So this Lemon Squeezy own. So we're working with like machines. No time to go
Okay.
into that. And I'm sort of like polythene fetch because Node has a global fetch, but I'm not sure that every host, or sometimes people are at older versions of Node, so they might not be able to get this global fetch. So what I'm
Okay.
using is that I am polythene it with Undici fetch. So technically, this fetch from Undici is still the one that is the global fetch in Node, right? So the,
Okay.
the the only thing I'm doing is that once we cannot find a global fetch, we'd send back the Undici fetch. So you have a unified API by just calling fetch so that it will
Mm-hmm.
pick the one that is available for you. So if you check, there's a fetch implement, which is this one that we are doing here. So that's just it. And of course, I'm also setting the base URL so that you don't always have to type https api.lemonsqueezy blah 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 blah. So this is where
Yeah.
I'm calling it. So in the first machine with the checkout, you can see how I'm calling it like this, and it doesn't really
Okay.
care. It just works. And so, of course,
Okay.
here, yeah, I'm passing it the bearer API key, which you don't have to pass in because I am. What am I doing? So if we check this one, I am setting a default. So each adapter will have access to the config that you specify in
Mm-hmm.
your user land code. So I can just call that config, and
Mm-hmm.
then I can have access to the API key. So you don't have to set it anytime. It's just basic, but it's DX.
I see. I see what you did. But like, can I see the pay? The pay looks like a class or an object or something. The pay object. Can I see the pay object?
Yes, yes, of
Sales
course.
pay.
So this is what the sales. So we have something called the sales hook in sales. It just lets you add functionality to your app. So I'm using the sales hook pay. So this is what it's going to look like. So this one is just my custom function because it's just basic custom function I wrote to extract the provider name from
Okay.
the adapter name, right? So
Okay.
here I'm setting default. So by default, we're expecting you to have a
Wait, your screen
provider
is
called
frozen, or it's
default.
just me?
Is it? Let me check. It's still frozen. Oh, I think it is. Let me stop sharing and share again.
Yeah, I
Today
think
is,
you are not seeing the right screen. I am muted now.
and I'm muted now.
Yeah, you are muted. I can read your lips. That's why I can tell you. So you are muted now.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. Let me see what's up. What did I do? Let me see. Lemon squeezy.
Okay. Okay. I hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me now. I don't know what happened there, but
Yeah.
today is the day for errors. So if we go back to here, I'm checking out. Oh, I know what's up. Let me do window. I definitely know what's up. So this is the sales hook pay. Can you see it?
Okay, I can see it.
Yeah, good. So we can set a default config object for hooks. So this I'm saying that by default, even if the user does not specify the provider, we're going to assume the provider to be the default provider. Then by
Yes. Yes.
default,
That's
give it an empty object, right? Then every hook has an initialize function, which is going to be called once your app is lifted.
okay.
So I'm having a get payment provider method here or function.
Payment provider.
Yeah, taking the provider, check if there's a defined provider of that name.
I can't hear
If
you.
not,
It's just me that his audio is cutting for.
I don't know. Let's see what's happening. Okay.
Something wrong with my phone.
Um Olabode said I am not muted. So, but the thing I'm going to do is I am going to share the entire screen. I really need to set up my office because this is weird. So if we do entire screen now, um, okay, hope that
Okay.
works for everyone.
Hope that works for everyone. Yeah, I can hear you.
Why am I hearing myself twice?
Why am I hearing myself twice? Wait, you can hear yourself.
Yes, am I hearing myself from your
Yes, am
end?
I hearing myself from your end? Yeah, I think it's on my end.
Okay, so
Okay, so
how do we do that?
how
How
do
do we
we do
mute
that? How
that?
do we mute that? So many technical issues today. God, what's going on?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe reduce. So, are you on YouTube or something? Maybe you should
No,
reduce
I'm not on YouTube.
the audio from there. So why is it
I act-
okay?
actually actually muted the site on YouTube.
Okay, so I don't think I can hear myself anymore. Okay, fine, fine, fine. I think this is
Yeah.
caused by body. This is body's fault. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going through the code again. Okay. Can you hear me
Okay.
really well last time?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, good. So here, once you initialize your app, like if you just want sales lift, right? So we want to pick the default payment provider so that you could not have to call sales.pay.provider, then checkout. You can just call sales.pay.checkout. So here I am. So you give it a payment provider, which is going to be a string, which is like this guy, right?
Okay. Okay.
Then I am extracting the provider name because this is the adapter is going to come in the form of like at sales pay slash lemon squeezy, for example. But what we need is just this one. So
Okay.
I am extracting it with this extract provider. Just a simple JavaScript things, really, nothing much. Just split
Yeah.
the thing by the
The split.
slash,
Yeah.
then give me the last one.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's nothing
Yeah.
serious. Then once we have that, then I can use that as a case for my switch. So I say, okay, if the provider is lemon squeezy, right, I could now do cons provider. Actually, I think I could even do this now. Since we're passing in the adapter, I could literally pass this in so that this is actually very more dynamic, but it's still the same thing because I know that this
Wait.
is
Wait.
lemon squeezy. What?
I think I get the flow here. So if you have something
Mhm.
like Paystack or Stripe or something, you
Yes,
in sales they already exist adapters for them. So what you are doing is you are just configuring the provider based on what
e-
adapter you're using, because they're already
exactly.
like pre-written adapters in sales. So you're just doing
Ye-
slash whichever
mhm.
one you want to use. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, yes. So then I will load the provider. Then this part I'm not so sure about it because I think what I want this part works because I'm going to take the config that you provide, which is this bad boy. No, no. I'm going to take the config that you provide. And so if we go back to pay, I'm going to take this config, right, and pass it to the adapter so that
Hmm.
we can do anything with them, right? So that's what this line is doing because the provider expects it. It exposes a config object. If we go back to sales, if we go to index.js, no, not is it index.js? No, no, no. It's adapter. Where's the bad boy? This one. So you could see that it exposes a config object. So now I'm passing that config object with this one. So I'm saying that populate assign the config object that is exposed by the adapter with the config from userland, which is what this bad boy code is doing. This one here.
Yeah.
Then yeah,
Yeah. Okay. I see.
yes, yes. So then at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I just return the provider. Simple. Then here I will get the default provider. Then here is where I'm setting up. I'm mapping all the method to be exposed as sales.pay. All right, good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it. Literally, that's just it.
Oh, hence the sales dot paid or checkout. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. That's the bad boy.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, it's
That
it's
makes sense.
almost the same thing I did for sales stash, but that's the topic for another day. Let me see what Bode is saying. Hello, Orashu Sedmon, welcome. I can hear Kevin 3 times. I hope you are no longer hearing me 3 times again. But I'm not sharing sound, dude. Dude, relax. Okay, so I think let's start with what we have on our list for today. I have a beef with people on Twitter, which is not a real place. Yeah. So please, in case you don't know, the Twitter is not a real place. I'm going to share my screen for this one. Okay. So window. So someone DM'd me this morning. Normally, I was gonna like, okay, this is a newbie question, and okay, let's see what's up. But I decided to like, because this was the thing that was happening with them, right? So they said, so I started learning Vue.js and built this simple web app, emphasis on simple, with Vue plus TypeScript and Vue router, and later deployed to Vercel. Okay. Thing is, if I navigate to a new route and refresh the page, Vercel will send me a 404 error page. They would know it was Vercel sending them the 404 error page. I tried on a different so that should be like on a different host, but had the same results. Here's the deployment link. Now, this is my beef. First of all, let's turn off our developer brain and let's think like some people that have been using the internet for forever. When you have example.com and you visit slash kiniko, if you refresh the page, what is the expected behavior you are expecting that you have been tuned to?
If I navigate to a route and I refresh,
Mm-hmm.
I stay on the route.
Thank you, my lord. Simple, right? You would expect everybody should think like that. But people on Twitter, they're like, oh no, skill issue. This, that. I say, yeah, thank you. Thank you. You're the one that is the most skillful. Well done. I feel like, first of all, this is a two-part thing. Single page applications and Vercel. Now, the people on Twitter, even the person that sent me this, I had to help him with everything that I've been told. So what they said is that you have to. Where's the bad boy? There's this thing here. Hmm?
Hmm?
You have to specify this in a Vercel.json file. And what this is doing, right? Because the way single page application work, even though you're using a router for multiple pages, right? You still have just one
Yeah.
page. Hence the name single page application.
Mm,
But
mm,
so because once you load your app.js file, for example, then the router will kick up. So once you navigate, the router will be like, okay, let's swap this page with this component and things like that. But at the end of the day, you
yeah.
still have one page. So what this rewrite is doing, I think this is definitely given to .htrsx, but let's just leave it here.
Yes, it
So
is.
Parcel will be like dot star. Like anytime you navigate to any page, the destination is always the index.html. That is cool,
Yes.
right? But
Yeah.
my beef is that this is not a predictable behavior because you would you would think in development mode when I navigate, I don't have to set this thing. Why do I have to do
Yes.
it in prod?
Hmm.
It's confusing. Like you will not predict this. And I feel like we are going to get to a crossroad. So I was listening to the Lemon Squeezy podcast episode with Guillermo Rausch, which is the CEO of Herself, and he said what I've been thinking about, which is that all websites should start server side first, right? Like you should start. In fact, I don't think client side. I think client side navigation is a progressive enhancement, but by default, your page should be able to navigate without JavaScript. Because what that is telling me is that if JavaScript is the same, of course, single page application, you cannot navigate. You can't because
Yeah.
JavaScript is controlling the navigation. So the client side navigation and the whole SPA rave, it's making things happen in unpredictable ways. And it's not a
And
skill issue. Go ahead, Toby.
to actually to actually buttress that point here, um, when I the first time I started like deploying to prod with React and stuff, I started with Netlify. So
Mm-hmm.
this was actually one of the things that I remember with Netlify. I think there's a dot redirect file or something like that that you have
Mm-hmm.
to like specify for Netlify. But but here's the weird part because I came from before I started using Netlify and this thing. Well, I came from using what's this thing called? This platform that we have to use Apache and But
Oh,
it's
definitely. I think PHP.
no, no, there's a platform that
PHP.
you are,
Okay. Is it? I know the name. I know the name. Oh, I can't remember, but
there
I
was
know.
a
I
client
used to know
that
the
there's
name.
a yeah, there was a client that requested it that we had to we had to send the build file to the server, and then we uploaded it, and then we had to go to the history access and write some
Yes, I know the platform.
weird
It's something
some
control.
yeah,
I would.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, but that was how I came to deployment here. Now,
Mm-hmm.
seeing this, I then did some research, and I kind of like came to the conclusion that this was kind of doing the same thing that the HT access was doing. Because if you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, um, when you write this file, it's like saying before your URL gets to the server, do a rewrite so that the server takes me to this part of my application. But it's not
Yuck.
intuitive because it does not make sense. It's not intuitive because it does not make sense right off the bat. So so it was very confusing at the point. But I
Mm-hmm.
I just like it's one of the things I didn't complain about. But like now that you're bringing it up, I feel like um maybe
We
it's a
should
valid
complain
problem
about
that
it.
maybe it's a valid problem that
Yes, yes.
it's something that should be
It's
discussed.
so it's C panel. According to
Cpanel,
Body,
yes,
yes,
Cpanel, yeah,
cPanel, yes, yes,
yes,
Body, you're
Cpanel,
right on.
yeah,
Oh, back in the day, we just drop your files. Like I can remember copying my files, just dropping it on cPanel public, or and your voice type is live.
but like
Oh,
for you,
good.
those cpanel and deploying React is a huge headache because
Oh, don't even
React
try.
React React, I did
Don't
it, but
even
like React
try.
views are super weird. Like the way we did it was very, very hacky because the HT access we wrote to them was if I removed one line of code in that HT access, maybe everything would just crash.
Yeah. So
But like,
so the,
yeah, go ahead.
my thought, Res, is this. It's simple. Look, we are causing too much complexity in web dev. Because
Yes,
what is happening, right? Even though you deploy on Vercel CDN is still a server, right?
yes,
And
mm-hmm.
your single page application, I get the idea, but I don't think the only form of navigation you should have is client side navigation because it's a pain when the only form of navigation you have a client side, right? And that's why
Yes,
things like Next exist and Remix, even in the boring stack, right? Like I think we are the ones that are really, really very close to still giving you an SPA. You don't have to do SSR. Like if you go to any page like salescloud.com/courses, it's not an SSR page. There are no rewrites, anything. But if you refresh the page, you still get the same page. Why? Because it
yes,
is going to be progressively enhanced. Like we'll be like, okay, if this user is just refreshing this page, they're just coming in here. There's no client side navigation. Let them still like see what they predict to have seen, which is the courses page. You don't have to do a rewrite. So I feel like at a certain point, the whole single page application thing, you have to be, you have to not have skill issue for you to actually do it well. For us that have skill issues, it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't make sense. Like be like, oh, it's skill issue. You have to put the Vercel.json file. Give me the rewrite. Yay! But okay, yes, genius. So if I want to host my site on not Vercel, how's that going to play out? Of course, the Vercel.json file won't work anymore. Of course, yes.
yes, yes.
So so what happens
So
now, genius?
so the geniuses would say you have to go to do very hacky things where you would be writing your own manual rewrites by yourself,
Yeah.
maybe for every part in your
Yes.
entire application, which could be thousands anyways. But yeah, nobody actually or
I
you use
mean,
this
or you just use Vercel forever. Yeah, use Vercel forever.
bro.
Right? So
But like
I don't go ahead.
but like for you, noticed that we had a problem was when I realized that if you deployed Vercel on any if you deployed Next.js on any other platform other than Vercel, you are going to run into trouble. I realized that okay, I think we are actually like I think now we have big issues right now.
Look, see, the way I built the Boris stack, right? Any platform that literally can do node app.js, your app will run. Literally. You
Yes.
don't need to do anything. And that's how I think web dev should be. Like your framework should be deployment platform agnostic. It doesn't
Agnostic, yeah.
care where it's running, it's just run. Because I don't have to go to Vercel school to learn how to deploy on Vercel. If I'm going to another place, I have to go to their school to learn how I have to deploy there. Like once you literally come to any place that lets you run a node server, you do node app.js, you are live. And that's how it should be. It should not be like, you know what, this is Vercel, so we do things differently here. This is Netlify, we also do things differently here. You have to learn them all, right? Man,
Deployment
and
101. People
yeah,
people start
deployment.
releasing deployment courses. How to deploy
Yes,
front end.
go from zero to hero on deploying your apps on Vercel. That's crazy.
God, I mean.
Mm-hmm. No, seriously, like it's
But
just
for real,
weird.
it is it's very very weird because it's deployment for Christ's sake. Like I'm just shocked, and I feel like it's
And
getting worse and worse. It's getting worse, like
mm-hmm.
because there hasn't been any. They always keep the idea of yeah, our platform is optimized for deployment for your applications. Use this for that. But it's just an application. Like I should be able to take my build file and put it anywhere and it should work excellently.
Yeah. No, just like just I think so. I hate that I cannot highlight stuff. I just cannot wait to be able to do that. So Bartek, if you go to the comments, said that the genius tell us how your predictable application will work outside the platform you deploy to. So if you move it elsewhere with the same config, that is the goddamn thing. So far, you can run node app.js on your deployment platform. It works. Like I know we are used to complexity, right? That's why our brain cannot imagine it. But what is so big in making your application run with node app.js? You could literally, I don't have a guide for Fly yet because I don't really use the platform. So I have to use it to write a guide for it. But I'm pretty sure if you just take the Boring Stack app the way it is right now and just run node app.js, your app will run. Of course, you have to set up like your database, and the cool thing is that your database, which most of your demo apps don't really have in the first place, so let's just rest on that one. Your database is just expected to be a URL. So once you set the environment variable in your deployment platform, like database underscore URL, it just takes it. The same thing for Redis. What is complicated about
Yes.
that? What is render about that? Or what is Netlify or Fly about that? There's nothing. It's just basic things that you just set up. Basic. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I was having a conversation with Jack Harrington on their Front End Fire podcast, and
Podcast.
we could. So there were three of them as the host. They all could agree that we are not having a real world, or it's as if the JavaScript ecosystem is no longer a real place where we just embrace complexity as if that's what we should be doing with our lives, right?
And then complexity is touted as if you know it, you are the smartest dev in the
Yes,
world.
no skill issue. No skill issue. I don't get it, man. I don't just know. I don't know what's up. Like now, literally people will feel like for every deployment platform, you need specific deployment configurations that are native to the platform. But you don't.
Yes.
You literally don't if you want to de-risk yourself. Of course, I don't know if you could even like run a node service on Vercel, right? But anywhere you could run. So literally, if you go to EC2 instance or anywhere that allow you to run node app.js, your Boring Stack app will run because there's nothing platform about the whole step to run the thing. It's just weird, man. It's weird. Like I feel at this point I am trying to give up on the JavaScript folks because I don't know what we're doing. I literally don't know what we're doing. So yesterday, let me find the tweet.
Okay.
Let me find the tweet. Give me a sec. Yeah, and for us to celebrate, this channel is at 16,000 subscribers, by the way. I just woke up to
Yeah.
that this morning. I was like, oh, okay, we're doing things.
Nice. That's amazing.
Yeah. Let
Nice.
me let me see if
Congratulations.
that. Yeah. Oh, can we clap yet? Yes, we can clap. Yeah. So yesterday I was. Where's the bad boy? Okay. Mentor not require. Remix. Tell me, do they want a black cat? Not a black cat. Happy birthday, Kiniko. Oh, give me a sec. I'm looking for the tweet I made about flash messages.
Oh, okay.
Um, yes, I can find it. uh, like, ah, JavaScript. So let me go to here. So this is the truth. So why are flash messages unpopular in Node.js? Like, if you ask a basic person, like an average developer that came into web from React, shades at React
Mhm.
as always, they don't know what flash messages are. I can guarantee. Because what we've been tuned to is SPAs and APIs. Make a fetch request to the API. If there's an error, they send it back to you, then you display it. Yes, life is good. But
Yes.
before all
Yes.
that jazz, flash messages have been so useful. Flash messages and sessions. Not all that do JWT that you don't really do right. That if an hacker want to hack you, you just be in soup. But normal sessions, right? Like cookie
Mhm.
based HTTP sessions have been
Okay.
working for authentication, for example. And you could also use them with flash messages. So, for example, let's say someone tried to buy a subscription on Hackfish, and they are not logged in, and
Okay.
they're supposed to be logged in for them to buy. Once they click on that subscribe
Yes.
button, my server would detect, it'll be like, yo, this person is not logged in, and they are coming from the subscription page. Flash this message to the session. So on the page that they are redirected to, you can say, you please log in before attempting to subscribe, something like that. How will you do it in SPA land with APIs?
Hmm. In SPA land with an API.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm curious though. This might be more of a front end thing because the person is trying to to buy according to you to buy a ticket without actually being logged in first.
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
what I'm
mhm,
thinking here is that they would probably use cookies or something to check if the person has an authentication token or something and if it's valid. So if whether or
it's
not it is, they probably redirect the person back to the page
now
that
that is the
is
problem
supposed to
there,
log
right there. Because that problem is that you're going to be doing local storage, Abby.
maybe cookies.
Cookies. Are you sure? Or you try. So look. Let's not pretend. People are storing their auth token on local storage. Let's just understand that, right? So
Okay, okay.
when you store it in local storage, which is you're doing well, you don't have skill issue, but you're doing really well. That's cookie or that token, because most people that
Mm-hmm.
do SPA, they do J like they do JW2, JSON web
Yes.
token, right? They're doing that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they do, because since their word is the client mostly word or client side mostly word, they are going to store it in local storage. They don't know anything about HTTP only web cookies. It's too big for them. So once anytime they're going to make a request to the server, right? They have to send the token with the request, right?
Yes, yes.
And that has to be the process. So the whole token or auth is controlled by the server, or by the
Yes.
client rather. But
Yeah, client.
with this server centric approach, you have a session. So sessions have always been a reliable way for you to store states across um requests, because HTTP is stateless. We all know that, right?
Yes,
So
it is, yeah.
with a session that the server knows about and is also stored in a HTTP only cookie, you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
send anything with any request. You don't have to do like API key or authorization bearer token. No, you don't have to do that, because
Okay.
the server has already marked the client that okay, this new UI is logged in, so they have an active session. That tab have an active session. So anytime they make an authenticated request, you already know that that session is already there. All right.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
because this is session driven, I could flash messages across sessions so that the server can send messages inside the session because every user have an active session. And then the pages can see those messages, which are called flash messages. So if you go to the release doc, right?
Mhm.
So here we see that session of flash. This I got this one from the release doc. So this sets a session value that will be on set the first time it is read. So the cool thing about session is that once you read it the first time, if you um refresh the page, you won't see the flash message anymore, which is so dope. It's good for flash messages from the server, like I just said, and also server side form validation messages. Because if you're living in a client only world, the way you validate your form errors from the server is that you make the request to the server, then if there's an issue, your backend will send you back the errors,
Right.
then you get to display them. Right? But literally the backend can, if you have a backend, it can flash server side form errors to your session, and that page will definitely see those sessions.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. Like it's a very, very old, stable, boring methodology. But people that are doing only SPAs and with an API, they don't have the freedom to use sessions. They are going to use JSON Web Tokens. And you cannot have this with JSON Web Tokens.
But okay, I'm curious though about security here. Um,
Yeah.
for example,
Let me see what's here.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, for example, with flash messages, sorry, um, we are checking like sessions, like whether or not
Mm-hmm.
the user, like now that session that we're checking, for
Yeah.
example, is that a sort of how would I say this? Is that a sort of authorization thing or is it authentication? Are we telling the user that okay, um, from this point to this point, you have access to certain things, or is it a duration based thing? Like, are we saying okay, you are only you only have access to at this specific moment, or is
Okay.
there like a boolean value that is toggling from true to false to tell the user
Okay.
whether or
Okay.
not
Okay.
they,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. I get it. So let me give a session crash code. So this is from the sales docs. I will give to people that are interested. Where's
okay,
the bad boy? I'm gonna put it here in the comment. So this is what's happening when it comes to session, right? So sessions are defined to be a few components that together allow you to store information about a user agent between requests. That's just
okay,
it. So there's always a request and response object, right? So once a
yeah,
user log in, we will append the user's user ID in the session store, right? And
okay,
that's going to be stored for as long as the session is valid. Because
valid,
sometimes you'll be like,
and
okay,
that
for yeah, go ahead.
sorry, the ID does not change, does it?
No. It's always going to be stored in the session because the session store can be something like Redis,
Okay,
right?
okay, okay,
So let
okay,
me show you this. I would explain and I'll show you something. So HTTP is stateless, right? And even when you do something like JWT, that's why you always have to send the API key or the token with your request for the backend to pass to be like, okay, is this coming from the right user? Does it have the right signature? And so it's always going to be passed every time, right? But
yeah,
with
okay,
a session store or using session, we just have to create an encrypted, of course, session that is tied to that user's browser tab. Okay,
I see,
so it's going
I
to
see.
be sent via the cookie header anytime you make a request,
I
right?
see. To
So
tell,
this one is mostly for authentication. Okay, I want to make sure that the user is logging, so I'll put the rec.session.user ID, for example. Then I'll give the current logged in user for this browser, right? But even without you being logged in, you can also send the users messages or errors using flash messages, which are powered by sessions.
I see, I
Yeah.
see. Okay, I see.
Mhm.
Okay, I see. So the
Okay.
entire
So
idea is built around sessions usage. Okay.
yes. So see this now. So this is like a basic login. So how we logged in sales or even in the boring stack, we just say rec the session or user ID. how, so you get the user that is going to be logged in, of course, then you pass in their user ID. This is login, right? Then, of course, these are like this. I know, right? Magic. But like I want to show you like a policy. So let me look for
So
policies in
to ask that
sales.
question again, does the user ID change or does it stay static?
No, it's still static across requests, because the way session work is that the server and the clients, that browser tab, they already have a relationship, which is the session ID. So
So
anytime
why
they
me I'm
use
asking is that
Mhm.
why me I'm asking is that like security perspective. I don't know how it works completely. So I'm curious,
security,
like
no, you
in
can't.
between that, no,
So
you can't
the
intercept to see.
no,
Okay,
you can't, because it's an HTTP only cookie. It's an HTTP only
okay,
cookie.
okay, okay.
Your
That makes sense.
your client side code cannot touch it at
Okay,
all.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes
So
sense. Yeah.
this is how we will use the. I'm looking for like a policy. Okay. So I don't want to do that one. So if you want to know that a user is logged in, for example, right? So you just set an is logged in policy, for example, which is like a
Okay,
middleware,
okay.
but exists in the server, not on your client's middleware. I don't know how that one work. So what you do is logged in. So this is just going to be a simple yes or no. We say that, does
Yeah,
this session have a user ID? If yes, let them proceed to this authenticated page. If not, send them back to login.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
This
that's
makes
just
sense.
it.
I get it now.
Mm.
I get it now. And that's where flash messages come in. So
Yeah.
flash messages will probably be dependent on that is logged in. So
No,
if
no,
it's logged
no.
in is false, then you can. Oh, okay.
So this thing, right?
So
Um, Sessions lets you do flash messages. They also let you do login. So the user does not even have to be logged in to see flash messages if you flash it to their session, because every browser
oh, so it
tab would
doesn't matter.
have. Yes, it doesn't matter. So the login capability is separate from you seeing flash messages. And I am actually pretty sure
Okay,
you've been
okay.
seeing flash messages on any website that is server centric, maybe like Amazon
Yeah,
or anything else that just use like a
yeah,
full server centric approach. I'll send the link to the remix talks or flash messages. Flash
yeah.
messages
But I think I kind
sessions.
of get it now, though,
Mhm.
based on what we just discussed. I kind of get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it is really powerful, but it's being lost. So I'll send this old flash messages in PHP. Let me even share my screen for this
Okay.
one. Share screen. So this is PHP flash messages, right? So a flash message allows you to create a message on one page and display it once on another page, which is what I just explained that time, right? Like, so when the user try to subscribe and they are not logged in, for example, I can create that flash message so that
Yeah,
when I redirect them back to the login page, that message still persists and they will be able to see it once.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's HTTP based. HTTP
Yes.
based.
Yes, of course.
Oh,
Right. So it's,
that
yeah.
makes perfect
So
sense.
let me see what people are saying.
So no interaction with the client at all. That makes
Oh no.
sense. That makes
Yes.
sense.
Oh no. How do you get the user ID to add to the session ID when it's not yet logged in? So, or else choose, you don't have, I think I should show code for this one. Maybe that would make more sense. So let me just go to how we log in. I'm going to show you login in Hackfish directly. Okay. Share screen, window, show this page. So I'm just going to show this page, right? So this is the login action in Hackfish, right?
Okay.
This is so you can do so here I'm going to, so once you try to log in, right? Of course, we're going to take your email.
Mm-hmm.
So in
Yes.
Hackfish, all our users are creators. So I'm using creator for their model, not user. So I'm going against the
Okay.
that flow there. So as a creator to find one, use that email. If you cannot find the user, throw a bad combo, saying to them that they have either a wrong email or password, because for security purposes, you don't want to tell the user that, oh, the email does not exist or the password does not exist. You just tell them that, dude, is either the email or the password is wrong. So if you're actually the user of the account, you will know which one is wrong. All right. Then here I am checking the password because the password is encrypted. So I would use the password that was sent in the form, and also the password that is being stored for this user. All right. So if this is wrong, it's going to throw an incorrect. Then again, I'm still sending back the bad combo to be like, okay, something is wrong. Then, if all that was not
Uh,
triggered, yeah. So if all that was, so I know that you all in JavaScript land cannot really do this. So your mind cannot understand this. How you could say, let this user be logged in for the next 24 hours. I know. But this is how you do it. It's very easy. You just set a max age for the cookie. All right. So after all that business, so if they check that remember me button or checkbox, you just set the max age for the cookie because this is an HTTP only cookie. So you can say, okay, the max age should be by default, I think it's like a day or some hours, but you could set it to as much as you want. So let me check what is inside custom remember me. So if you check the remember me cookie, it's 30 days. So if you click on remember me, we could set the max age for that cookie to be 30 days. So now this is how you log in the user. We say that this add to use make a new object in the session and add the user's ID. Right? This will make sure that this user is logged in. So if we check my policies, right, you will see that there is an is authenticated policy. So the user cannot do anything on invoice if they are not logged in, right? So this is what this policy is going to do. Very simple. We're going to say that if the user session, the browser tab, this browser tab have a session of creator ID, let them proceed. If not, we direct them back to login. That's it. So if we're going to
but
flash a message, yeah, go ahead, Toby.
yes, yeah, you can say like browser tab. Yeah,
Tab,
it sounded
browser
like
tab. Yeah,
yeah,
because
browser tab. Yeah,
so the thing, right? Like most people don't really pay attention mostly. Your browser tab is an instance of your
yes,
client. Every browser tab is an
yes,
instance of the client,
yeah,
right? So anytime I say browser tab, I'm really probing into the fact that the server only know the current login tab.
okay. But if I'm logged in on one, if I've logged in via one browser tab,
Mhm.
I happen to have another browser tab open, that session still persists to the other browser tab,
Yes,
right?
it still persists, but now it's communicating with that tab. It's not the entire
Okay, okay.
browser, but it's just the tab that is like
Oh,
where you're viewing the web page,
that
right?
makes sense.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that is basically it. So what I'm saying is that those sessions let you to do authentication. The user does not need to be logging for you to send them messages or flash messages. You just have to send them the message on the session. So whether they are logging or not, they can still see the flash messages. You just call rec.flash, which does not exist now because I have to work on that one. When you call rec.flash, you say, okay, maybe this is an error. They will not say you have to log in to complete this action. So anytime this middleware or this policy is hit, the login page will have this in the session and it can display this. It's a better experience than just sending me to login. Okay, well, why am I in login? I click on go to courses.
I see. I get you.
Yeah.
I get it. Way better experience. It's a way better
Yeah,
experience.
it's but this is I'm kind of pained that I have to be talking about flash messages, which are very old.
It's a way
But
better
it's
experience.
most so now watch now just this is going to blow your mind. If I was making a poll yesterday. Um, give me a sec.
Okay.
So if we go to this, but then I'm looking for the poll that I did. Okay, this poll. A massive percentage of people in Node.js don't know what Flash messages are because we are used to APIs, right?
Damn,
Yeah, like just look at this.
119 people.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a
And
lot.
this is just like a small sample set. And one cool thing I like about Remix is that they really embrace the web fundamentals. And if we go to Remix docs, Remix Flash messages, they have if they support sessions. In fact, if you must use Next or Remix, I say use Remix because these people really embrace the fundamentals of the web and they support it. So see what they say here. Sessions are an important part of websites that allow the server to identify requests coming from the same person, especially when it comes to server side form validation or when JavaScript is not on the page. For people, this is their reality. They'll always assume that JavaScript is on the page. Did you see that tweet where a dev's wife was so she was trying to use a search button on a page that has not yet been hydrated. She kept clicking because, of course, predictability. I'm expected to be able to click on a button that I can see. But because you've not hydrated, because you are
Yes.
doing SSR, I can't do shit. But you tell me skill issue, but I can't do anything. What is the skill issue from that Steph's wife? Don't have a skill. I just want to buy tickets. I just want to do stuff. But of course, we're in a JavaScript world, right? Sessions are a fundamental building blocks of many websites that let users log in, including social, e-commerce, business, and educational websites. This is, I think, this is the most correct way to log in users, especially when if you are if you are privileged to have both your server and your client code on the same code base. There's no need for you to do JSON web token. No
Just
need.
manage sessions. That's
Just use
I
session
can
because
see
they
it
are
happen.
old. Yeah, they are old, they are stable, they are predictable, and you can they are that means they are well tested for security more than your token that you don't invalidate. I'm pretty sure that most people JSON web token they don't invalidate it ever. They don't um refresh it even. In fact, some people be like, oh, what? Do I refresh the token? Nobody told me that. I just create it once and I put it in local storage, and yeah, my user is logged in. Yeah, yeah, right.
But for
Where's
you,
the
this is a big issue. The fintech websites do this. Like,
oh
do they?
yeah, like if it's a fintech website, they are not doing API things. If they are doing API things, right, on their client on the web, they are definitely using API token or JWT. Like they'll pass in that a authorization and bearer token. Yeah, they'll do that. But I'm pretty sure that Amazon is using session. E- E-commerce websites, most of them will definitely use session because it's very, very try tested. It's very, very stable and it's predictable.
I see.
Hmm.
For real,
Yeah.
this is crazy. Mind blowing stuff.
Yeah, you see, and the fact that it's mind blowing to you makes me even scared because this is old tech.
I don't know.
It's
It's
old,
That's why.
it's old, it's old. But of course, it's not even your fault because they don't talk about it in web dev. Just say, you know what, make an API request, get the API token, put it on the user, always send it back and forth anytime you're making a request, blah, blah, blah. That's the reality, man. Anyways, I'm gonna so we've touched on two of my things. Let's touch on your things.
Okay, okay, okay. So I would like to talk about React team ending usage of some APIs. I don't know. React Native does not seem to be loading for me. Maybe I have to use a VPN. So maybe you can share your screen instead. But
Um
you can show the tweets too. It's like
okay,
number
the
five.
tweet, okay, number five. Number five, writing is any usage of okay. This will be spicy. Let me let me share my screen. This one, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
So yes, Andrew Clark, one of the core team members of the React team. I think he works with Avacel now.
Mm.
So he said by the end of 2024, according to their blog, they are going to be like ending usage of certain APIs. Use Memo, use Callback, Memo. They are bringing out the React compiler because that's what React Forget is going to be doing. The work of all three of them. So they are going to be removing those hooks. We won't have access to them again. Forward ref is a prop. They're kicking out forward ref, so that's not going to be a problem anyways. I know recently
Oh,
um, engineers on our team at Billion are actually like discussing about the forward ref thing because it was causing some very annoying issues and stuff. Uh,
okay.
so React.lazy as well. Use context. You throw in promise. They're replacing that with use. So use is a new. Um, how would I say this? Use is like a new API that's coming with React 19. So I've been hearing like some news about. I'm even working on a blog with somebody up for some React 19 APIs, React 19 hooks rather. So
Mm-hmm.
unicorn utterances that will release probably soon. But like yeah, use is a very new API that is coming with React 19. I don't know entirely what it does fully. Also, context your provider is going to be replaced with context as well. So yeah, well you can go to the blog so that we can probably see
Yeah,
what's but
yeah.
like
This is
but this is
interesting.
definitely going to be like this is going to like some courses are going to be have to remade from scratch now because so many people are going to like be like what is going on because this is like you changing the entire React and saying no React is dead,
Ah,
we're moving to a new phase. So many APIs are going and React is going to
mm.
get a compiler, so that is crazy. React is getting its own compiler because React forgets demand start anyways.
Um, I think let's address the elephant in the room now. Will you all agree now that you're a framework, not a library? Because you're getting
Well,
your own compiler. No, you're still a library, huh? I think I think React has identity crisis, really. Like they need to just, what are we? Like who am I? Like what do I do? Because it's just weird.
but I feel like the React team is paying attention more. So they've been working on React for Gates for like a long while. They announced it in 2021. But the fact that the React team is doing at least making a bit of an effort to address
Mm-hmm.
optimization issues is
Okay.
kind of
It's
should I
good.
say a good thing. But I don't think it's but I don't think the step they've taken with React for Gates is the right step because it doesn't essentially mean that your React apps are going to like super fast. Like, it's just like solving one problem out of like 10. So
Oh boy.
but but yeah,
React.
it's a step in the right direction, I guess.
Yeah. I'm wishing you all the best of luck. So
But I feel like this is
so
heartbreaking. I grew up with those hooks.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't worry, don't worry. But according to the tweet here, so there's this global use hook, right?
Yeah,
That
hook,
instead
yeah.
of use context now, just call it. So the hook is sort of like this global hook helper that will give
Yeah.
you something like use. So just passing the context, then you have the
Yeah,
same behavior
exactly.
as use context. I don't know
Use
why you guys were
context.
throwing promises before, but that's interesting. So now you do use promise. Like, what does this one do normally? This one is what I'm very interested in.
Funny, funny, I've never used that before. I've never seen a use case where I had to throw a promise
Yeah, we
because
have to
I've
throw a
never used that before.
promise. That's interesting. And here they are just mostly just not having a forward ref, but now ref is a prop. Okay. React Lazy is being replaced with RSC and promise as child. That's fun. Use memo, use callback, then memo. They are all React compiler. What does that
That's
even
React
mean?
forget. That's React forget.
Okay, so you don't have to do all this. The React compiler will do it for you.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That might be fun at least because I've seen a lot of when to use memo, when to memo or when
But
not
but
to
that but
memo.
that but that only optimizes reconciliation. It doesn't actually optimize rendering if we think
Oh
about
God!
it in the grand scheme of things.
Wow.
So, but maybe they have like so much more things that they've not talked about to the public yet. But as far as I know, that only optimizes like reconciliation. Rendering will still be an
Mhm.
issue.
God, I beg. People should have fun. Oh. with building demo apps with all these complexities, it just feels like too much. Feels too much.
But yeah,
So React,
I yeah, yeah,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. I'm just like I'm curious to like to see these new APIs. I mean, React 19 is supposed to be like game changer, and them
They
telling
have
me
always
that
sent out of
they
every
have
new versions.
like for them like as per the ecosystem because the era of us writing um client first applications is probably like going down the drain rather because
Mm-hmm.
now they are bringing like directives now into React like for real like now it's going to be like a thing where you actually like have to deal with React like in next years. So it's like they're just making React become next year's in one way or the other. But let's see how far. Look at server actions too and all that. So
Oh boy.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
man.
believe
Yeah,
all of
man.
that.
I do not envy you guys at all. I don't envy. Like, I feel like this this bid to reinvent the status quo, or like, I don't, you see, my bigger problem is that with all this stuff, right? Neither Next or React can be used in isolation to build a application that you don't need any third party for.
Well, yes, that is true.
S-
That is true.
I, I,
Dependence is true.
yeah, like they tell you, you can't. We cannot give you auth. Auth is not our problem. Use Next auth that don't work.